Why does ending polio matter?
Why does
ending polio matter?
What is happening in
Pakistan
and Afghanistan?
Is Nigeria
close to ending polio?
Why does
ending polio matter?
Why is ending polio
So urgent.
Why do outbreaks happen?
What is Rotary doing?
What is Rotary doing to end
Polio.
How can I help?
How can I help?
How can I help?
Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. My name is Mike Homan, and it is my privilege as president of the Rotary Club of Tulsa to welcome you to a very, very special program today, and it is jam-packed. On May 30th, 1916, President Woodrow Wilson issued a presidential proclamation establishing June 14th as National Flag Day. This day commemorates the adoption of the Stars and Stripes as the official flag of the United States. Little did President Wilson know, but that our very own beloved past president, Jimmy Sade, would also celebrate June 14th as his birthday. And the irony of this, for those of you that don't know the story, will become apparent a little bit later in the meeting here. And this flag down here at the base of the podium actually flew over the Capitol in our honor of our centennial celebration 3 years ago. So, and we have a plaque to show that. Jimmy celebrated life, and he actually wrote a book sharing his story with us. And in it, he said about Rotary, and I quote, "I like to think that the way to become a true Rotarian is to realize that Rotary is great when you participate." And I know a lot of you have heard that from Jimmy, and amen to that. So with that, we'll begin our program. Bill Miller is going to lead us in our song and pledge. Katie Johnson will lead us in our invocation, and then Ed Monette will introduce our visitors. Bill?
Thank you, President Mike. Tomorrow, June 14th, is Flag Day, so today let us sing You're a Grand Old Flag. And we're
That's a good choice, Bill.
And we're going to sing it twice. I've got the words coming up. We have the words coming up. Very good. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Almighty God, there are many in our community who are suffering from lack of basic needs and compassion, and we pray that you will keep us aware and ever mindful of ways to address those needs. But today, may we be joyful as we learn more about the way another human need is being addressed in our community, the need for recreation, time to recreate, refresh, and rekindle a sense of adventure in the out of doors. We are grateful for our many blessings, especially our speakers, our guests, this food, this fellowship, this day. Amen.
I'd like to welcome you again to the Rotary Club of Tulsa. We have a ton of guests and visitors today, so we're going to go through these quick. As is our custom, I will introduce the host Rotarian and their guests if they would briefly stand so we may recognize you. To sit back down, we'll hold our applause and recognize everyone at the end. Rotarian Dell Dreyer has with him Bradley Nelligan with Catalyst Financial. John O'Connor has Kevin Hearn, candidate for Congress and business owner. Terry Correll has with her Lindsay Hutchinson and Joe Barkowski, both with the Tulsa Zoo. Kip Lycum has with him his trophy wife, Pat. Mike Homan and his trophy wife, Ginger, with Zia Communications. Excuse me, thank you. Rhonda Hayes brought with her Whitney Collins with Spirit Bank. And another trophy wife, Kathy Raines, trophy wife of John Raines, is here today. Johan Tallman has with him Jerry Rabinowitz with Sampson and Kip Rabinowitz with Sampson. And Jerry Barrientos has with her Lupe Latimer with First Mate Financial. Tina Miller has with her Margaret Butler. And also Dave Stott. David Downing has several Acrobat Ant guests. We have Rachel Cervenka, Dana Jacobs, Anna Montoto, Heather Hall, Annie Nelligan, and Madison Gillis. And Rodrigo Rojas is going to introduce his guests later. Terry McDonald has his son, Mike McDonald, who is with Shanghai Disney. That could be the coolest thing. That's just awesome. Sid Shupak has with him Matt Redmond with First State Investment. And Paul Cornell has with him Eric Waller. Let's give them all a warm Rotary welcome. Several visiting Rotarians that we will greet in our traditional fashion. From the Charlotte, North Carolina Top of the Week Club, Myrna Gill. Oh, and I think Myrna is going to throw something at you, Mike. So. From the Owasso Club, Andy Coleman. From Bixby, Jack Maxwell. From District 6110, Rochelle Parker. From the nearby town of Miami, Florida, Judy L. Moore. Also nearby, from Evansville, Indiana, Ronald Court. And from way far away at the Sunrise Club, Phil Jackson. Thank you all for being here, and please come again.
Thank you, Bill, Katie, and Ed. And please join me in thanking all of our meeting volunteers who make sure our meetings run so smoothly each week. Thank you, volunteers. And welcome guests. Here at the Rotary Club of Tulsa, you'll find that this is where Tulsa's finest, and I do mean finest, business and community leaders come together to serve the needs of those here in Tulsa and around the world. We hope you'll feel welcome today and will consider joining us. And so while we're thanking people, let's say thank you to this week's meeting sponsors whose sponsorships help defray the costs of our club. Our sponsors this week are Joe and Lynn Moore with Moore's Funeral Home, and Michael Hairston and Clark Southmaid of Trust Company of Oklahoma. As always, we encourage you to do business with your fellow Rotarians. Thank you, sponsors. Okay, I have several announcements to go through. Bear with me here. So, Rotary has been battling the gathering place for first place in public relations over the past week. I think you guys might be a little ahead, but we're there. So, last week, did you all see, in the millennials, this is probably online somewhere. Yeah. Great article about Tina and why she's what she sees as her goals is leading us forward. So a great article, Tina. Thank you for that. Good job. And then, I believe it was yesterday, there was a great article from John Klein about the Medical Supply Network. Yeah, Jack? Excellent. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great story, and thank you for sharing that with everyone. So, and that reminds me, our club's next weekend, volunteer weekend out at the Medical Supply Network is coming up July 14th, 8 to noon. So put that on your calendar. I promise you, you'll have a good time. Okay, Monday night is the IBA banquet. It's here already. God, it seems hard to believe, except where's Tricia? So, oh, there you are. You're probably so glad it's here. Tricia and her committee have done a fabulous job putting together a great lineup and a great program. So I hope I see you all there. I know Ginger and I will be there. There are some maps on your table on how to get into the hotel there in the banquet room. So if you need those, take that with you. We have another social event tomorrow night. On Flag Day. We're going to celebrate Flag Day at Napa Flats from 5:30 to 7. It'll be a nice time to meet and greet and network. We're going to meet in the bar area of the restaurant for drinks and appetizers. Each person will be responsible for their own tab. This will be a great opportunity to bring some prospective members and allow them to meet some fellow Rotarians. So I hope to see you there. And then June 27th is coming up, our last meeting of the year, Steak Day. And so there are RSVP cards on your table. We need to know how many are going to show up so we don't have to share steaks. We want to make sure we have a steak for everyone. And then it's time to figure out what payment type you want to do for membership dues and meal selection for next year. You can do that either by going online through DACDB, or there are some forms on the table. You can select your dues and meal selection and hand those to Tommy Lynn out at the guest table when you leave the meeting today. And speaking of meetings, we have 2 committee meetings after this meeting today. IBA committee will be meeting in room 233 to wrap up plans, and then International Projects is meeting in room 234. So please join them. So now back to celebrating Jimmy Sade and Flag Day. During the 1976-1977 Rotary year, at the suggestion of then club president Jimmy Sade, the club's board of directors agreed that a special award was needed to honor those Rotarians who exhibit exceedingly high and outstanding service to our club. It instantly became our club's most prestigious award. Following Jimmy's passing in 2007, the board voted to name the award the James G. Sade Service Above Self and Then Some Award. Now, Jimmy is credited with many club initiatives, including the founding of Camp Enterprise and the founding of the Rotary Men of Note. He was an educator, he was a school band director, and of course, he was the founder of Sade Music Company. He was also a guiding hand to all the club presidents who came after him. He was always there to encourage and pick them up. And to me, this is where it gets even more interesting. Jimmy also portrayed composer-conductor John Philip Sousa in concerts throughout the country and led a successful drive to have Sousa's Stars and Stripes Forever named the National March of the United States. Now, over the past 41 years, the James G. Sade Service Above Self and Then Some Award has only been presented 19 times. Let's take a minute and point your attention to the video screens and recognize all of those who have received this club's highest honor. I love Jimmy. He lived life to the fullest. And Ginger and I were at the IBA banquet that night that he composed that, and he stole the show that night. That was awesome. We have a handful of our James G. Sage Service Above Self and Then Some Award recipients here with us today, sitting down at this special table. I'd like to, if you all would, if you can, stand up when I announce your name, and we'll give you applause at the end. Bob Vassar is here, Jack Maxwell, Linda Bradshaw, Bob Lenacher, and then Margaret Butler is here representing Ron Butler, and then Charlie Chittum is here representing his son Mike Chittum. So thank you all for coming today. And he'll kill me for doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Jimmy's son, Bob, of course, is a great member of our club, and Bob's here today, and I know you're proud of your dad, so thanks for being here today, Bob. Okay, so any member of our club can nominate a club member for the James G. Sage Service Above Self and Then Some Award. The nomination is first submitted to and then accepted by the president of the club, and then it must be approved by a majority vote of the Long Range Planning Committee and a majority vote of the Board of Directors. We are fortunate this year in that a worthy nomination was submitted and approved unanimously by the Long Range Planning Committee and the Board of Directors. Please join me in welcoming to the podium the 20th recipient of the James G. Sade Service Above Self and Then Some Award, immediate past president, John Raines. Told him he's got to stand here while I brag on him now, and I know he doesn't enjoy this. He's a humble guy. So John, you are worthy of this recognition for a long, long list of reasons. However, in particular, you are being recognized for your leadership in introducing the nationally acclaimed Shop with a Cop youth intervention program that involves local law enforcement and the Rotary Club of Tulsa. This is a program which provides a positive experience with police officers for at-risk youth with consideration for poor economic conditions, and it helps meet needs of families during the holiday season. We are also recognizing your commitment to the reorganization of the management of our office staff this past year and your willingness during the transition to assist with office personnel on your own time. And we are recognizing your humanitarian heart through which you exemplify the four-way test in all that you do. And we are recognizing your leadership as a past president, your commitment to the Rotary International Foundation, and your commitment to District 6110. This resolution is presented today, June 13, 2018, by the authority of the Board of Directors of the Rotary Club of Tulsa. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking John Raines for his service to our club, our community, and to people around the world.
I tell you, this is a very special club, and I don't think I deserve this. So I was whispering to Rochelle some names in her ear of the people that should get this, and now you've made me work hard to make sure that will happen because they're all ahead of me. But I really appreciate this recognition. I hope I can serve this fine group of gentlemen and women moving forward, becoming a part of that by continuing to work for the club and for Rotary and living up to this. Thanks so much, and thanks Bob and Jimmy for establishing the award. Thank you.
Okay. It's always nice to surprise someone. I enjoy that. Okay, Salvation Army. Captain Ken Chapman, you have some news for us, I hear.
Yes, thank you, President Mike, for allowing me to come in and say this. I am the area commander of the Salvation Army here in Tulsa for one more day. The Salvation Army has placed me under farewell orders, and it's taken me a few weeks to wrap my head around it. Friday, we take a moving truck and drive a 26-foot truck down 20 hours to where our new appointment is. But I wanted to take a moment to say this club welcomed me 2 years ago, and you guys are absolutely wonderful people. This is the best Rotary Club I have ever been a part of. And I want to say that my heart is being left in Tulsa. Tulsa, sometimes it takes an outsider to come in and say this. Tulsa is a unique, unbelievable community. And you need to appreciate the community you live in, because I have never seen the philanthropy and the generous hearts and the way people care about each other. And when the teacher walkout happened, immediately everyone just joined hands and did what had to be done. So appreciate what you have, because I certainly do. And I will have you in my heart, because I still have things I wanted to get done in Tulsa, but amazing things are happening. Thank you for what you're doing. The guy following me is going to be good, and he's a Rotarian. Hallelujah. So I will tell you where I'm going. I will be the new area commander in Orlando, Florida.
All right.
So nobody is feeling sorry for me for being moved to Orlando, but God bless each one of you. You have been wonderful. You've made my life, and you've made me a better officer. So God bless this Rotary Club, and God bless Tulsa, Oklahoma. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Ken, and Godspeed to you and your wife, and we thank you for the blessings you've given to us through your servant heart. We will miss you, but hopefully we'll meet somewhere down the road. Okay, Vocational Minute, Carragay Neal with Chenoweth and Cohen.
Thank you. I too think this is a special club. I've had a long relationship with it, both as a career educator and now in my retirement career as a realtor. And sometime I hope the program committee will bring Cheryl Chenoweth to speak, because it's an amazing story of success in Tulsa of in 15 years, well, in their 13th year, of grossing over $1 billion in sales in just northeastern Oklahoma. But they have 500 realtors. There are literally thousands of realtors in northeastern Oklahoma. So how do you distinguish yourself? Well, I put a few of these on your table. I don't have enough for everybody, but you do distinguish yourself by providing something for other people, like zip codes to search by, which I recommend, school districts to search by, which I recommend, and then shameless self-promotion, which is clearly in this brochure. I also want you to know that one of the things that has made me specialize is my age. I'm 74, my husband is 83, and we know how many people are absolutely carrying around a valuable investment that they're just sitting on, and they're tired of paying for it. Their spouse may end up with it, their children may end up with it. Everybody knows your home's a great investment, but when you've got a great investment that's only returning about 2% a year, it's time to find something else to do with that kernel of resources. So one of the things I specialize in is right-sizing. It doesn't have to be downsizing. And so if I can help you, and I know I can, if you talk to your friends who have finally made the move, just starts with an in-home consultation saying, I don't know what to do. What do I consign? What do I put in estate planning? What do I put in estate sales? So anything that I can do to just help you launch. Kids are not the only ones with failure to launch. So if I can help you, and I know I can, please give me a call. I'd appreciate the opportunity to visit with you, and I really appreciate the Vocational Minute. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carragay. Yeah. Excellent, thank you. Okay, it's time to introduce our Rotarian of the day, Rodrigo Rojas. Rodrigo is the Director of Community Relations at the Gathering Place, where he provides leadership and coordination for the Gathering Place in all community-based strategies, communications, and outreach efforts. Prior to the Gathering Place, Rodrigo served as Director of Development and Communications at Teach for America and as Director of Operations at La Semana del Sur. Did I say that right? Yeah. Okay. Oklahoma's Spanish-English newspaper. Rodrigo is also the founder of Festival Americas, a free multicultural festival that celebrates the rich and diverse culture of Tulsa's Hispanic community and inspires the next generation of leaders in Tulsa through college scholarships. Rodrigo earned a bachelor's degree from the University of Arkansas, WUPIG, in marketing management and real estate. So please join me in welcoming to the podium Rodrigo Rojas.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the introduction. It's an honor today to be up here to introduce our guest from the Gathering Place. First, I want to introduce Amanda Murphy, our VP of Marketing, who's sitting up here in the front, who's with us today. Yes. And also our two speakers today, Jeff Stava and Tony Moore. Jeff Stava serves as the Chief Operating Officer at Tulsa Community Foundation. TCF has $4.2 billion in assets and grants approximately $2 million each year to Tulsa area nonprofits and programs. Jeff joined TCF in May 2008 after working 12 years as president of a collection of businesses he and a group of investors built and later sold. Jeff has brought his business perspective to his work at TCF and the George Kaiser Family Foundation. He graduated from Jenks High School in 1987 and obtained his Bachelor's of Business Administration from Baylor University in 1991. Jeff serves on GKFF's leadership team. He leads the Vibrant and Inclusive team, where he oversees the foundation's civic enhancement, economic development, beautification, and art investments. He also manages GKFF's real estate portfolio and is the executive director and trustee for Tulsa's Gathering Place, 100-acre, $465 million riverfront park development project. Our second speaker, Tony Moore, is a hospitality and park executive with over 30 years of experience in the entertainment industry. Tony has served in a leadership capacity for some of the most respected entertainment brands, including Universal Studios, SeaWorld Parks, and Tampa's Lowry Park Zoo. At Universal, Tony held operation leadership roles and was a creative, hands-on leader with big picture perspective who assisted with the successful opening of Islands of Adventure Park. At SeaWorld Parks, Tony served as marketing manager, director of park operations, director of environmental health and safety, director of culinary revenue, director of corporate ops, and executive assistant to the president and chairman of the board. A lot of positions there. And Tony also served as the chief operating officer for Tampa's Lowry Park Zoo, overseeing the relaunch of the zoo's brand as it relates to all new project developments, in-park brand enhancements, marketing analysis, community affairs, and programming. Tony now serves proudly as a park director for this one-of-a-kind, world-class urban park called the Gathering Place that's opening in 2018. And last but certainly not least, both of our speakers today just so happen to be my bosses. So make sure you tell them I did a good job today, please. Yeah. But in all seriousness, it's an honor and privilege to be part of this exceptional team at the Gathering Place that's really bringing to life this world-class park for all Tulsans to enjoy. So without further ado, please give them a warm welcome to Jeff Stava and Tony Moore.
Thank you very, very much. It was a great introduction. I love coming to the Rotary Club of Tulsa. You guys have big smiles and you're so enthusiastic about Tulsa, so it's fun to come and share a little bit about the work that we're doing in our community because you guys are such easy audiences to talk to. But first, we talked about Flag Day being celebrated tomorrow, but a real important holiday is Father's Day coming up on Sunday. I'd like to say, call out my father. I wouldn't be where I am today or the person that I am today without my dad. And I just want to say thanks. Now we'll get to the good stuff. The Gathering Place has been a project that I've been working on since coming to the foundation 10 years ago last month. It's an incredible project, and I think it's really going to change the way our community looks at itself, the way that we feel about ourselves, and that's the aspiration that we have for the project. I'm going to talk a little bit about the park itself, what I'd call the body of the park. Tony is going to get to talk about the heart of the park, which is what our aspiration at the foundation is. We're going to build a first-class park. I can guarantee you from the minute you step out of your vehicle and you step on a solid sandstone stone curb and you walk through the park and see all the pretty pictures I'm going to show you today, it's a world-class park. There will be no other park built that will be to the quality that we have. But the most important thing for us at the foundation is about what it's going to do for the community itself, the life of the community. And that's what Tony is going to bring and activate is the programming, the things that are really going to cause Tulsans to all come together in the park. So I'll take care of the boring stuff, and Tony will have all the fun stuff at the last part. But I first want to talk about Michael Van Valkenburg. We hired him 6 years ago in July. And he has really taken, and John from Terracon, he does all of our geotechnical stuff and our testing stuff on site. He's got this picture. As you walk out today, you've really got to make sure you come and see this. This was taken in September 2013. And it's quite incredible. If you remember the old Buford property, it was just flat as a dinner plate. Bermuda lawn, it looked gorgeous, had a beautiful white house, grove of trees that ran the back of the property. I hardly even remember what that looked like. And when you come on site, you see the pictures today. Michael has just really transformed that site into a world-class park. The topography goes from as high as 56 feet and at the bottom of the pond below 21 feet, that original grade, which you can see in this photograph here. When we hired Michael, he was probably a top 20 architect. And in the last 2 or 3 years has really risen in acclaim internationally as probably a top, I would say, 1 architect. They would arguably say top 3. He's masterful. And I think when we visited Brooklyn Bridge Park, which was the park that we really used on measurement of what we would want to bring to Tulsa, the thing that most struck me was how natural, the rustic natural and beauty, which that's what Oklahomans are about, and that's what our state is about. And how he can take that and kind of weave it into kind of an urban park setting. So it'll be a place where we're all really super comfortable. But most importantly, what he did was he came to Tulsa and he listened and he learned about what was most important in our community and what we wanted in a park. And not just about the features of the park, but the programming. And he took all of our ideas, which we had, I don't know, there were like 1,400 different ideas, and he wove those into the actual design of the park, which I think will make it unique to Tulsans. So if you're out on the site today, it's gorgeous. We have 8 acres of wildflower gardens that are all popping up. And the wildflowers are everywhere. They'll actually ensconce the view of your drive down Riverside Drive. They're everywhere in the medians and side alleyways. And then in the wetland garden where this photograph was taken. So they're everywhere. This is the Sky Garden over the South Land Bridge. You know, we have 2 300-foot land bridges that connect the west side of Riverside Drive, River Parks, with the Gathering Place on the east side. This is the Helmrich Sky Garden. It has a really nice, beautiful lawn in the middle. You can see all the trees have been planted. We're right now planting all of our perennials. A total of 1.2 million plants are being planted at the park right now, and we're wrapping up planting 5,789 trees. So a lot of trees and a lot of plants, and a lot of people with sore backs. I get my whip from my dad. And my receding hairline and gray hair, too. I'm having to look off the screen, too. But here's, you can see more wildflowers and the beautiful landings as it looks over the 3-acre Peggy's Pond. This runs right down the center of the site. You can also see in the background the boathouse. There's just tons of places for people to be and relax. Against the water's edge, either on the river or on Peggy's Pond. This is a picture of the landing. We have 3 of these docks that protrude out over the pond. You can see we're testing the furniture Tony has a rigorous testing program for all of our fixtures and furniture, and so we're testing that. But you can just kind of picture yourself being there and kind of relaxing as the sun comes up in the morning. This is tons of plantings all over. This is the playground area. This is the Caterpillar Bridge on the left-hand side. It gets its name because the columns all look like caterpillar legs. They're all in different directions. And you can see the lush plantings for the outdoor classroom that's in the playground as well. A ton of stone. That's no pun intended. A lot of stone everywhere, both in the landscape and on the buildings. There's approximately 7,000 tons of rock at the site. You'll see this is a landscaped wall that runs. It looks just like the Williams Lodge is sitting right upon the wall. On the right-hand side is a water feature, Mist Mountain, where we have these shooting fish that fly up and land in the top crucible, and then the water flows down the face of it. But there's brown sandstone everywhere, and everywhere you go in the park, you're on rock aggregate concrete pathways, and all of that rock comes from Oklahoma too. So every rock, every stone comes from the state of Oklahoma. I think that's a big bragging point. It's also cheaper to do it that way. The craftsmanship for everything, and like I said, from the sandstone curbs as you get out of your car and walk into the park, to the rock work, to the woodwork. This is just a taste. When you first come to the site, you're going to have to go to the Williams Lodge and look at the ceiling. It's probably one of the most amazing ceilings with 7 different species of wood turned in about 18 or 19 different ways. It will be by far probably one of the most significant architectural elements in our community. And then I get to the boathouse. Everyone always asks me my favorite features, and I always say, it's like I say with my kids, I have no favorite child. But I absolutely love the overlook covered for the One Oak Boathouse. I think this will be, I used to say when I was a kid, Kodak moment. It's now actually Instagram moment. This will be your Instagram moment. I think people will want to get their picture taken. There's 88 composite fiberglass panels that are all put together to create this just really what I think will be iconic roof structure within the park. And now that everything has come to life in the park with all the growing grass and trees, I mean, the white roof line just is absolutely incredible within the park itself. And then this is the Williams Lodge. It's an unbelievable building into and of itself, just with the stonework. Each one of those walls, each one of those stones weighs between 1/2 ton and 3 tons. We can only set up each day somewhere between 6 and 17 stones, and those walls would take anywhere from 3 to 6 months to build. So absolutely incredible, and it's permanent. I mean, we're building this as a 100-year project, and it's designed, engineered, and built to that standard. The Four Seasons Garden, I think, is going to be probably one of the most under-talked about and probably most striking features within the park. There's 24 solid sandstone columns and 14 long walls. And this will, at the beginning, with the way we've constructed our temporary parking, this will serve as one of the major entryways into the park. And these photos just don't do it justice. The blue sky with the contrasting to the sandstone, and these columns look like they're falling over. So as you walk through, they're not falling through. They have $1.2 million worth of Hilti anchors holding them up, but they feel like they're falling in on you, and it's really an unbelievable view. And Michael just has the way, there's not one straight walkway in the entire park. Now, having said that, you're going to go find one, but Phil Lakin would find that one straight sidewalk. But Michael takes you through a meandering pathway, and he steers your view and tells you what you're going to see when you see it. And it's absolutely striking. And so the visual that you receive as you walk through the park is like nothing else we've ever seen in our community. And I think that's going to be really neat. But this rock garden is absolutely phenomenal. This is the backside of Mist Mountain as you look over the landings there at Peggy's Pond. It'll have unbelievable views. When I said that the pond is 21 feet down, we have berms that ensconce Riverside Drive, so you won't, very minimal amounts of seeing or hearing Riverside Drive and the traffic that's on it. You can stand from this vista point and see all around the park and yet not see outside of Riverside Drive. So this will be an unbelievable spot to be. And then, honestly, and Tony's the one that really made me feel better about this, but the land bridges themselves. when you drove down Riverside Drive before, you could look off and see Arkansas River and the PSO with all the lights and the Holly Refinery. And then on the right, you saw the green lawn. You won't see any of that anymore. You're going to feel like you're in a valley of wildflowers and trees. And you're going to see these beautiful land bridges. We just powered the lights on. You can see on the right, that's the nighttime vision. Tony ran out and got a picture of it for us last night. But these land bridges are really going to become iconic for your everyday commute, but also as a grand entryway actually into the park itself. And there's 2 of them. And another part that we didn't get a photograph of that's my favorite is the pedestrian bridge that replaces the old pedestrian bridge. It basically comes out of one side of the landscape and dives into the other, and it's just a ribbon of concrete that goes over Riverside Drive. It's absolutely spectacular. Here's a picture of some of the lawn areas, the Great Lawn, the Quick Trip Great Lawn. You know, we talk about the life of the park. This is a lawn will hold between 5,000 and 6,000 people for concerts and movies in the park and symphony in the park. There'll be a lot of great activities and places for people to be together in our park. This is the outdoor eating patio near the lodge. The wood lattice work, it looks like plantation shutters laid to the side. It's 18,000 square feet in size and fits about between 500 and 550 people, so it'll be a great place to congregate. My favorite part's picking out the furniture. Don't tell the neighbors this, but it's like a beer garden with long tables and benches. And so instead of going into a restaurant where you sit by yourself and your family, you actually go into this restaurant and you'll be sitting with your friends, you know, with your neighbors, with other Tulsans. So it's very deliberate in the way that all this has been designed. And there's a lot of top secret stuff I can't tell you about that you'll just have to discover when you get there. But you'll notice the design promotes us all being together as one community. And that's the big objective. So with that, we have a flyover that gives you kind of ties all these pictures together. So that gives you a bird's eye view. Now I'd like to introduce Tony. We had numerous candidates that we looked at for this job, and there's no better person more capable of being our park director and masterminding what I think is going to be the heart and life and blood and soul of our community. I'd introduce Tony Moore.
Every time Jeff says that, I just feel the weight and the weight and the weight. But truly happy to be here, my second time visiting the Rotary Club, and thank you for having us. You can tell from Jeff's natural excitement, this is truly an exciting time for us. This is really a cool project, and I know it's been somewhat theoretical for a while, and last week we were able to give an actual date. And so, yeah, September 8th. So to be specific, it's 86 days, 11 hours, and 49 minutes, but who's counting? Actually, who's counting? The kids are counting, and they just can't absolutely wait for this to happen. So with that said, you know, the announcement of this grand opening is going to be a very important day for Tulsa. We're hoping to have national media on site, and we want to tell the story to whomever will listen, national, local, international, how important of a park this is and how unique of a park this is. $465 million to build a park that does not have an ROI plan attached to it. So my friends from Disney and from Orlando, Universal Studios spent $500 million on their first installment of Harry Potter. and we're putting $465 million strictly as a park, a regional park for the community. Tulsa is truly fortunate for a community that will fund such an initiative, and very fortunate to have this. This is Tulsa's park. And so for 100 days, in typical Tulsa fashion, we want to celebrate in a way that's memorable. And instead of just having one day or one weekend, it's 100 days of celebration. But there's a little bit of strategy behind the 100 days as well. Because of all the anticipation and the excitement, we are scared everyone's going to show up for one weekend. And so at that point, the park has a limited capacity in how much we can handle, and we're establishing that. It may be as high as 20,000 folks, 10,000 folks in one day, but if all of Tulsa shows up, which is a good chance, we want you to spread it over 100 days. So you don't have to come day one, you can come day 10 or day 20 or day 30 or day 40. And so with that, we had to make these 100 days compelling and find compelling reasons for folks to visit. And so we start out with, from the Tonight Show fame, Jimmy Fallon's fame, the Roots band, neo soul, hip hop. This group has a wide crossover. And so this group, we sure will literally have a bang when we open, and hope that this will also help to garner some attention to Tulsa. And what we're hoping is for that halo effect for a national audience to say, do you realize what's going on in Tulsa? And this is a park designed to unify the city and make Tulsa a more vibrant place to live, work, and play. But not only with the Roots, we have a famous group from our Native American group, a tribe called Red. We have Montes de Durango, a strong Hispanic and Latino group that will be performing. Kirk Franklin, an inspirational gospel singer, will be singing with the Metropolitan Baptist Choir. And also Tulsa's favorite, the Swan Brothers. And so this is just a taste of some of the talent that will be spread out over 100 days. In addition to that, every night will be a fire night light show that will be presented on the pond, Peggy's Pond, and the vistas from the pond reflecting on the water. This will truly be spectacular and truly be amazing. And part of the strategy behind that is what we call length of stay. So we don't have everyone showing up in the morning or midday. We want to push some of the attendance tonight as well to help to alleviate crowdings. And so every night we'll have an awesome light show for Tulsas to celebrate for the 100 days. In addition to that, the park has so much diversity and features. We have 5 international sport courts that roughly the size of a basketball court that has multifunction for basketball, volleyball, street soccer, street hockey. And so 2 of Tulsa's favorite son, Anthony Bowie and John Starks, who went to high school in Tulsa, will be bringing and having a promotional NBA Legend game in our sport courts that everyone will be invited out to see. In addition to that, we're working with ESPN and very close to landing a deal that will involve some of our BMX bikers and our skaters that are on the circuit that will also stop. The idea is to really engage the sports realm and allow from a way that our audience will get to see how we can participate. But after that, these courts are designed for Tulsans just to come to play and to recreate. You know, we speak a bit about the process, and Jeff mentioned about Michael Van Valkenburg and Associates and what they have done. But before this all started, there were 3 community outreach sessions in which we listened to the community and better understanding what this park meant to the community and what are some of the attractions that should be incorporated in. And that data was taken by Michael Van Valkenburg and Associates and incorporated into the park. But even now that we're within 86 days of opening, we continue to embrace the community. We continue to go out to ensure that all our cultural communities understand the park and that the park is relevant and authentic to them. And so Rodrigo will be leading that team and going out, and we've established 4 cultural communities: our Native American, our Hispanics and Latinos, our African American, and our Asian American. And so with Amanda's leadership and Rodrigo out engaging with his team, it's important for us that all our cultural communities embrace the park as theirs. We had the first opportunity to give Tulsa County elementary school kids the first look at the park, and you may have heard about it. It happened maybe about 3 months ago, and about 25,000 kids had the opportunity to visit the park, specific to the adventure playground. And I will tell you, you know, theoretically you build parks and you think, yes, it's really going to deliver and we know this is going to be awesome, but it doesn't pay dividend until that end user embraces and interacts with it. And it was an awesome experience to see these kids just running in with total excitement, eyes wide open, mouths wide open, just in awe of the park. You know, I learned a new terminology from these kids. A young lady looked up at the towers in the playground and she said, "Mister, this is mega awesome." And I was like, "I like that. Do I have permission to use that?" She said, "Oh, okay." And so mega awesome through the eyes of the deliveries through the eyes of the critic. We had one young lady that at the very end of her play, she was getting ready to get back on her bus to go back to her school, and she started crying. And we were all concerned trying to understand exactly what had happened. And she says, "You know, my family's moving to Arkansas, and I won't get to play in the park." Again, an end user, honest perspective of how great the park is. And it's interesting, both chaperones and kids could not quite wrap their minds around this being a free experience. And they kept asking, yeah, so how much is it really going to cost? And we said thanks to a very generous philanthropic community and a very generous group of Tulsans, this is a free experience. And so that's what makes this park so unique. There's not a lot of experiences of this quality that's a free experience. But it's important to note that the Gathering Place is more than just a park. When you think of a public park, what typically comes to mind is a massive green space with a couple of monkey bars and a few swings and a few pavilions that we can hang out. And I'm not in any which mean trying to de-emphasize or the other public parks that we have. We have some awesome public parks here in Tulsa and the surrounding areas. But this is more than just a park. It's a park designed with several functions, and I get often asked, how will success be measured? And so during my interview, I was interviewing with Jeff, and I looked at the model, and I said, so, you know, the ROI plan behind this? And he said, yeah, there really isn't one. And I struggled in understanding that. You know, coming from the for-profit business, you know, you celebrate your successes. We're on the calendar year primarily, and in December, about January, you get the final numbers in, and you hear you had an awesome year, and you get that pat on the shoulder, and before you know, you're in January, so you're starting the new year already, and so the request is, can I continue to have double-digit growth over prior year for this following year? And so when Jeff explained that there wasn't really an ROI plan, you know, I wanted in. I really wanted in. Of course, I didn't let him know that until after, but it was just such an awesome project. But three things he said to me that resonates. He said, this park needs to be a park that's a quality experience. And typically public parks, they're open with great fanfare, but the way the budgets are set up, it's oftentimes budgets out of city or county dollars that are being fought for, and many times due to different priorities, it doesn't always get the funding needed to ensure that the maintenance is always maintained at a quality level. And this park has an endowment that will ensure that the daily operation is covered. And I say that this park needs to have the same quality that it opens with 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And part of my responsibility is to ensure that when something chips, it gets sanded and painted. When something needs to be repaired, it gets repaired. And so this is the pride of Tulsa, and it needs to be a quality park that you can reach out to your visiting friends and family and be very proud of it. Another function of this park, it needs to be repeatable. And many times you build parks and you may hear, yeah, you know, it was nice, but I'm not sure I'd go again. It was, you know, it was cool, but I'm not sure I'd go again. This has to be a repeatable experience for Tulsans that they want to come again and again. And the programming will certainly help with that, but it must be repeatable. And we will, while you will come for the physical assets, you will return for the programming. And so we have a programming team led by a young lady named Kirsten Hine that's looking to bring never seen before attractions, never seen before entertainment, art, education is a huge part of it. Culture is a huge part of it. health and wellness is a huge part of it. So it's not just a place to play, it's also a place to learn, especially from a early childhood perspective. In addition to that, the park has an aspirational value to say it must unify the city, and it sounds aspirational in saying how will a park truly be able to unify the city. And so the objective behind this park, and this was initially George Kaiser's idea, in that a lot of companies, as you know, were leaving Tulsa and going to Dallas and going to different places and different markets. And if you keep having that brain drain of resources, ultimately it spells the demise of the city. And so part of the objective here was to build a park that would make Tulsa more vibrant and make Tulsa more inclusive, and will make Tulsa a place to live, work, and play. And so I will be challenged the task by my bosses to ensure that this is a place that is attractive in such a means. And so all our cultural communities, all our demographics, there's something to do for toddlers, there's something to do for seniors, there's something to do for plant lovers. I almost said animal lovers, you know where I came from, right? For folks that love the outdoors and the landscaping, there's just really a little bit of everything to do. And so we think, while this is designed for Tulsans, by Tulsans, that anyone within a day's drive is going to find value to driving down to Tulsa and making a weekend off this. And so the plan and the hope is that they will stay in a hotel and put some money in their hotels and rent a car and put some money in their economy. And Amanda did some marketing studies and realized that there's about 16 million MSAs within a 4-hour drive of this destination, from Dallas, from Arkansas to Oklahoma City to Kansas City. And so our hope is that after we get through the park as Tulsans, and then the outside market will come in and also help to enrich our community and make this a regional draw. With that said, food is a major, typically in the park business, admissions is the first thing that you pay, the first share of your wallet. The second share of your wallet is food. And the number one selling food item is usually water. And so typically for food, you in a park environment, you pay a captive price. For us, we were going to outsource the Gathering Place culinary division, but we decided to do it in-house so we can control the quality, but more importantly, we can control the price point. And so we want to make this affordable for all Tulsans, that for about $5, someone can get a sandwich, a bag of chips, and a drink. And so it's very important for us. We've hired 2 of the best, one gentleman named Vung from Oklahoma City, and he's our culinary general manager, and another gentleman named Kirk Swaby from Chicago that will be our executive chef. And the image you see there is a model concept picture of the Boathouse restaurant, and aesthetically it looks very high end, but we're positioning it as what we call elevated casual dining. And also the price point will be that you can go in for about $20, have a meal. Now, if you would like to spend more than $20, 20% of our menu will be positioned for great date night or anniversary night, but certainly it's an affordable experience. In addition to that, one of the questions we're typically asked is, hey, how are you going to park everyone? I mean, how are you going to handle this robust crowds from a parking point of view? Currently, we have repurposed part of our phase 2, and we'll get about just about 1,500 spots, but we have almost 2,000 spots on property. In the park business, the common knowledge is you never build a church for Easter Sunday. You never build a park for your peak. You manage through the peak, but each park normalizes about year 3. And so we think we have enough parking to get us through, but important to note, for the first year, we will have a very robust plan that will involve off-site parking. There'll be lots that you can walk from to get to the park, and lots that you can also get shuttled and bused from. And so certainly we know the demand will be surplus, but there is a strong plan. And we will also share this in a very public manner so you have well enough time to plan and understand where these locations are. Another quick question that I'm frequently asked is, from a security point of view, tell us about security. We will have an in-house security team. We'll have a very active park group that will be physically present in the park. We'll have ways of conducting surveillance in the park to ensure that the park is safe. We are partnering with some of our local first responders, the Sheriff's Office, Under Sheriff's Office, Tulsa Police Department, in ensuring that from a safety point of view, that safety is number one. We have partnered with Homeland Security and have conducted park walks. So security, rest assured, will be of a vital importance. And the other question that I'll quickly get to, and this will be my last, is from a dislodged community, how are you going to deal with a dislodged community? And this is a public park for everyone, and we will handle, when I say the dislodged community, the homeless, in a very sensitive and respectful manner, and we're hoping to partner with partners such as John 3:16 and Catholic Charities. So with that said, I know it's been a mouthful between Jeff and I, but we're truly excited about this. We want to thank you for all your support for this and patience as we get ready to open this park in 86 days. Thank you.
Yeah, Jeff, Tony, Rodrigo, Amanda, thank you all for the hours and hours and hours I know you're putting into bringing us this mega awesome gift to our city. We do appreciate all the effort that's going into it. So a book recognizing today's program will be presented to our adopted school, Sealy Clinton Elementary, and the name of the book is, of course, Flags Over America today. So upcoming programs. Next week we have Rose Washington, who's the chair of the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City. She's going to talk to us about how America's economic policies are impacting Tulsa, so you will not want to miss that. And then the week after that is on June 27th is Steak Day. So again, make your reservations so we can have enough steaks for you. So now, thank you for coming today to this special program and celebrating Flag Day with us in the gathering place. And as always, I encourage you, go out, tell your Rotary story, and don't forget to bring a friend to Rotary next week. We are dismissed.